Hello, hi, and welcome to EmpathicFire. I'm your reader, Jay. Here's going to be general messages for the sign of Scorpio in the month of December 2018. What's up, Scorpio? How you guys doing? Hope you guys are doing well. Right off the bat, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, and Happy Hanukkah if you are celebrating any and all of those. You know, maybe you've got an eclectic group of friends or a very diverse family, I don't know. But regardless, I hope that the holidays greet you warmly, Scorpio, and I hope that you have a fantastic time with those around you who you love and care for the most, okay? Shuffled off camera, that's your spread there. We're going to go ahead and shuffle now for your outcome and your overall energy. Once those cards are out and all cards are lying face up, that's when the reading begins. Time for that will be in the description box below. Also down there is information on how to get a personal reading with me if you feel so inclined. I'd love to work with you if you want to work with me. And before we get to your outcome and your overall, I have to say, Scorpio, your energy is like really excitable or just bombastic, very, you know, because you had a lot of cards jump out. Like you see you've got a triplet here. We'll talk about that in a bit. You've had cards come out 3, 4 at a time, and I just don't take that many at once. I only take maximum 2 cards for one position. And so it was a lot that was going on, and I feel like there's a lot going on with the energy for you right now. It feels very intense. It feels very, like I said, bombastic or very like explosive. So just want to tell you that right off the bat, and maybe that resonates with some of you. Let's go ahead and get your outcome now. Outcome for Scorpio, December 2018. Oh, there it goes, right off the table and somewhere a little bit out of my reach. So 1 second. Oh, let me go ahead and place that down so you can see it. Bottom of the deck is the overall energy, and I'll be right back. Okay, Scorpio, so this is your card. Came like that. A lot of face down energy, and so to kind of talk about what I was just talking about, where you had a lot of things coming out at once, or like multiple cards for multiple different positions that I was shuffling for. But there's this interesting thing about a lot of things are being face down. So you might be in this like caught between two forces, or caught between two types of two approaches or something like that. It feels like hot and cold, yes and no. Lots of energy, no energy. Being lethargic and then being, you know, over the top, full of ideas and full of energy. So that might apply to some of you. But let's see what's really going on when we flip these cards over, okay? Wow. Okay, that's interesting. And I'll explain why I did that just then. Wow. 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 A lot of reversals. Okay. So the reason I said wow is because here, your double for this one position, which is a part of the triplet, which I'll explain a little bit about in a second. These obviously are in two, one's upright and one's reverse, and they both popped out at the same time, and they both popped out face down, so I couldn't tell what direction they were. But it's just interesting that 2 cards that were essentially stacked on top of each other came out, but one's upright and one's in reverse. So again, there's like this feeling of like caught between 2 polarities, like caught between 2 extremes, or maybe even fluctuating between 2 extremes. This is just a feeling. I haven't really taken this board in of yours, the spread of yours in. I haven't looked at it truly. It's just very intense, what I'm feeling. It's very intense, okay? Now, let's see what's going on. Please show me where Scorpio is in December 2018. Please show me Scorpio for December 2018. Please show me. Thank you. Wow, again. Okay, so I've had to say this speech more than once this month. So we have certainly a trend going on astrologically or within my readings at least. So Scorpio, if you're new here, I normally do a 6-card spread, but sometimes what has happened is I get 2 cards for one position, which then makes what I call a triplet. And so you are now, what are you? You're the 8th sign, right? You're the 8th sign of the Zodiac. Only one sign out of all that I've done so far for December only one sign has not had the triplet. So the trend is back. This trend was happening earlier this year. And the other interesting trend is that I'm beginning my readings in the triplet. Normally, no, not normally, but when it was happening earlier this year, like consistently, I wouldn't start in the triplet. I would usually end there. But for you, I think for Leo, maybe for Gemini as well, I can't remember everybody, but I feel like I've begun in the triplet a fair amount this month. So I don't know what that means. I'll have to get in touch with what the hell my guides are trying to tell me by starting with the triplet. But what has usually been the case is that the triplet is usually telling a separate but still connected story to the other 4 cards. So we'll see if that's what happens with you. I'm not sure yet. But anyway, you begin, I took a long time just to tell you, you begin coming into December as the Queen of Wands, or with the energy of the Queen of Wands. And I'm feeling, Scorpio, as tends to be your MO, or your standard mode of operation, is being pretty much like, not fed up, but just certainly just wanting stuff done, and you want it done now, or you want it done in the way that you want it to be done. And I think that is kind of always like playing in the background, like that soundtrack, or that like I said, way of being, standard mode of operation, I think is what I said. That tendency, thank you, that's the word I want. That tendency is always kind of running in the background of your life, but I don't think you push it to the forefront as much as other people might think you do. So when you have this energy, which to me feels kind of demanding, it feels kind of like I have to have it this way, or it has to happen this way, or if I'm going to be involved, we have to do this. Whatever it is, you might be negotiating your involvement in a certain project, or your involvement in a certain event, and you're just like not about the BS. You're not about having your time wasted. You're not about having your resources or your energy wasted. Whatever you're being called to do, and I feel like this particular Queen of Wands energy, she's being asked to get up off of her throne, or in this case, her little easy chair, or whatever that is, that lounge chair. She's being asked to participate in something. And I feel that, Scorpio, that could be you. You're being asked to participate in something, but you're kind of like, I don't even want to do that. Like, I appreciate the offer, or I appreciate you thinking of me, or maybe some of you don't even appreciate being asked. You're like, why would you even think to ask me to do this? I have no interest whatsoever in getting involved in this. And it's two things. Like, I feel for some of you, it's like a demanding thing. Like, okay, if I'm going to get involved, XYZ has to happen, or XYZ needs to be brought to the table first, and then I'll sign on, and then I'll be okay with this. Others of you, so that's the demanding part. Others of you, you're feeling like defensive, like I said before, your time, your energy, your effort is very precious to you, and so you don't want it to be taken for granted. So you're very much defensive. It's like, look, don't make me get involved in this, because I'm a treasure. What I do is a treasure. What I have, what I possess, what I bring to the table is a treasure, and I want to reserve it for myself, or reserve it for another person, or another time, or another situation that I feel is more deserving. So it's kind of like, again, you're being asked to be involved in something, or your energy is being called out. You might be called out, or being called into something, into a meeting, into certain social situations. You might be, something is just being asked of you, expected of you, and you're just like, not about it. You're really not about it. Like, a lot of you, I think you will, and I think, what was I mentioning? Because I think I was mentioning something, but then I cut myself off, essentially. Right, okay, thank you. Your perception, or the perception people have of you, is very much like this. Like, this particular Queen of Wands, more than other depictions of the Queen of Wands, seems a little standoffish to me. Like, a little like, are you kidding me? Like, that's her expression. Are you kidding me? Look at this mess. She's like, kind of bitchy. And that's not my typical interpretation of the Queen of Wands, but in this deck with this energy right now, that's kind of what it feels like. But part of that for you, Scorpio, is a perception. People perceive you, for lack of a better word, to be a bitch. Male or female, I don't care who you are. Like, you're a bitch, or you're bitchy, or you're bitching. You're doing a lot of that. And that's your perception. I think a lot of people give you that marker, label you that way, view you as being kind of standoffish, and to a degree they might be correct, but the true essence of you, Scorpio, from my experience and what I'm feeling, is that this is not for show. I'm not being this way to be difficult. I'm not being this way to make it seem as though I'm better than everybody else around me. I'm being this way to, one, protect my own integrity, protect my own dignity, protect the things about myself and the things around me and the people around me that I value, number one. And then also behind it is because, look, I've been down this road before, and I've been scorned. I've been burned before. I've dealt with people's nonsense and their knucklehead business. And it's just like, no, I've learned this lesson. So that hard edge to you, Scorpio, which might be flaring up a bit right now, which people might be getting, you know, the brunt of right now, is, to me, from what I feel, with due cause. Now, and that's because, you know, Scorpio, you're more sensitive than you would ever let on to anybody else outside of yourself and maybe a few close friends or family members. You really are quite sensitive. And the burden that you carry, the cross that you bear with that, is that not only are you so sensitive, you're also very hardened, you know? So it's, I think I said that at the start, right? It's sort of like a polarity. It's sort of like almost an opposite. If somebody has a creamy, milky, soft center, you don't expect the outside of them to be made of steel. Like, the visual that I got when I just said that was like, you know, like a nice piece of chocolate or some type of, you know, cream stuffed pastry. You don't expect that when you know, someone offers you a cream-filled donut, you don't expect that the outside of the donut be rock hard. But in your case, Scorpio, that's usually how you are. And again, it could be, you know, your karmic burden. It could be the burden that you have just through your life lesson. You might not believe in past lives, or you may not be connected with that aspect of your life or anything like that. But even in this lifetime that you're living right now, you could have gone through so many things in your past, from your childhood, from previous relationships and connections with people, that cause you to harden your outside. This Queen of Wands has a very hard outside, and she's not shying away from that right now. She's not pretending that she doesn't have that. I think a lot of you are owning your defensive position, and you're owning your position of, look, of being demanding, of feeling that if I'm going to get involved, I better be compensated for what I'm bringing to the table. So that could be monetary compensation. That could be compensation in terms of just endearments and being thanked. And that, see, I'm channeling a little bit for you guys. I feel that some of you feel like, where's my thank you? Where's the thank you? Where's the please and thank you for everything that I've done? And again, like, that can come off as bitchy to people, or it can come off as being super demanding. But I'm telling you, Scorpio, I understand this energy for you. It's like, no, seriously, it's not about my ego. It's not about my ego. It's about what's right. It's about what is right in the circumstances. It's only protocol to say please and thank you if you ask someone for a favor, they deliver on the favor, and then, you know, to show your gratitude, you thank them. You know, so some of you are doing things for people, or have been doing things for people, and not really demanding that gratitude. But now I feel like that's kind of turning that corner. You're kind of turning a corner with that, and you're like, listen, I've been doing favors for you. And this is just a very succinct example. It could apply in different areas. And it doesn't have to play out this way. But what I'm feeling is, you may have been coming and helping people repetitively, repeatedly, and you've given of yourself. You've sacrificed some things. You've stepped up to the plate. You've given people your time, your effort, your money, whatever. And it just, for you, feels ungrateful, feels as if they're taking it for granted, feels as if it's expected. Scorpio will do this. Scorpio did it before, so Scorpio will do this again. And to a degree, that's correct, because Scorpio, you are a giving sign, but at the same time, you want to be recognized. If I'm going to do this for you, you need to give me some thanks. If I'm going to do this for you, for some of you, you're going to pay me. You haven't paid me. I've done this for you 2 times already. You still haven't paid me what you owe me. Pay me what you owe me. Like, do it. Like, I'm not playing with you. And I don't know how this would escalate. I don't know how this would unfold, but that is just your energy. Your attitude is, I'm about my business. I'm about my integrity, and I'm about having a good, virtuous name in this world. You're not going to throw dirt on my name. You're not going to throw shade on me and call me all types of names when I have done this, that, and the other for you. When I have put myself on the line for you, when I have stepped up and helped you when no one else would help you. Girl, guy, I'm channeling for you. Listen, whoever you're doing this for, I feel that some of them are absolutely ungrateful. They absolutely are using you. They absolutely are not going to give you what you want, and you need to let them be. For others of you, the majority of you, I think it's a matter of possible miscommunication and possible shame or embarrassment or misunderstanding, like I said, between you and this other person, or you and this group of people, if it's, you know, obviously more than one person. But I feel the majority of you, it's just like they don't know how to thank you, or they don't know if it's a case of money. They don't have all the money that they owe you, and they're kind of embarrassed to come to you with just a portion of what you're owed. And so there's just like this tension or this distance between the two of you, and your demeanor gives them pause. If I'm honest, your demeanor, as much as I can be aligned with or feel I got your back on this, I also feel on the other side of things, this would be quite intimidating to come up against. If you have this no nonsense sort of biting, sort of very acute, in some cases very snappy, very cut to the chase, like no pleasantries, like they might call you, you call them, and they're like, oh, hey, how's your day? And you're like, it's fine. So about my money, like that can really put people off. I'm not saying that you need to necessarily alter what you're doing or alter how you feel, but I'm just saying I think that your what might be viewed as abrasive approach isn't really connecting with people in a positive way. So if you want to have a certain reaction, or if you want to have a certain dialogue with people that gets them to show gratitude to you, or gets them to pay you what you are owed, you might need to be a little bit nicer about it. But that's just general what I feel could make things go smoother for you if you're interested in that. I think a lot of you right now, this whole energy right here, and this is just where we're starting. I can't wait to see what's going on over here. I haven't looked really, but I know there's going to be some stuff. But what's going on over here, I feel is like you definitely are aligning it, or the core of it is to do with your integrity and your dignity and the sake of your name being a, you know, don't drag me. Don't drag my name in the streets. Who the hell are you? Or don't make it seem like I'm victimizing you or I'm harassing you or anything like that. You're like, that could also be what's going on. Some of you might be dealing with someone who's like playing the victim, quote unquote, like playing the victim. And your email or your text or your voicemail, you know, they're showing it or playing it for other people, and other people are like, damn, Scorpio, you went after her. You went after him. And you're like, what? And they're like, what happened? Tell me what they said. And then they tell you what this other, it's like a lot of hearsay, you know? So that could be going on for some of you, where basically you feel like somebody is trying to attack your character, to destroy your character, or to make it seem as if you are the person who's being the aggressor. And to a certain degree, you might have that intensity in how you speak, in the word choices that you make. But honestly, Scorpio, I don't think many of you would take it to this escalated level that someone else might be saying, oh my God, Scorpio came at me and Scorpio attacked me and Scorpio said all these things and Scorpio said they would do this to me. And you're like, I never said in my life that I would do such and such a thing. So someone could be exaggerating or lying about how intense you are. That's why I say some of you might want to augment or tone this down a little bit, but energetically, I feel vindicated for you. So like, I feel like I'm having a bit of a channeling moment for you. I feel vindicated. I feel very valid in this position. I, as in Scorpio, feels very valid this way. I am not a Scorpio, but I feel like that's the position. I feel valid about what the hell's going on here. Okay? Now, above you, in the triplet, you've got the Three of Pentacles. Girl or guy or whoever is watching, this makes so much sense to me. Three of Pentacles with the Eight of Swords in reverse. So Three of Pentacles talks about partnerships. Can talk about third-party relationships, blah, 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 all that crap. I don't necessarily subscribe to all the threes equal that, but, or rather in the sense of like romantic interference, okay? A lot of readers will throw that in. And I'm like, I don't know that that applies. And that could be like for a few of you, but really I feel this is more like a business. This is more like a partnership amongst friends or amongst family members. And it's just not, it's not that it's not. It's just, it's reached a point where for you, all bets are off, you know? The Three of Pentacles shows the intention. What you agreed to do and what they agreed to do and how you all came to a mutual understanding about something and you all worked for this goal. Now you'll notice though, there are three people overseeing the project or standing on that shelf looking at the result and only one person with with arms that are made out of a hammer and a screwdriver, right? Yeah. So one person is doing all the work while other people are just looking on, they're observing the progress, they're observing the result, and that's not really ideal in a partnership of any type, where one person does all the work and other people, the other person or other people are just kind of standing by twiddling their thumbs. And the same can be said when you look at the traditional Rider-Waite deck, where it's one person who's basically the craftsman and two people are coming to consult and negotiate with the craftsman. You can say that. But here I feel it's like even more of a distance between the person who's putting in the work and the other people who are basically observing the work being done. Now, I spoke a lot about this is your energy. You're the one putting out. You're the one giving and offering and stepping up to the plate. But it is a general reading. It can go vice versa. So be honest with yourself, Scorpio. If you're not lifting a finger, if you're not throwing any cash at the problem or throwing cash in to try and find a solution, be honest. You're on the top shelf there looking down at somebody else working hard to get the result that's the result that's desired. And then beside it and right next to that Three of Pentacles is the Eight of Swords in reverse. So Eight of Swords, I'll show you this card upright just in case you're not familiar with the deck and in case you're not watching any of my other videos, because this has come out I think a few times before. Anyway, but this is in reverse. Upright, we're talking about feeling stuck. We're talking about feeling tied to a situation, feeling like you have no options, you have no escape, all that kind of stuff. In reverse, and this is not always the case, I feel for you though, this month it is, total opposite. So in this partnership, there's been a breaking point or a certain no turning back point, a point of no return. And I feel that someone, maybe you, but maybe someone else, no longer feels tied to something. So the work produced in this partnership, maybe actually working on a certain project like a craftsman type project, or working out the terms of a contract, whatever it is, allowed someone to be free or freer. Feel freer, perhaps move more freely, perhaps, you know, maybe some of you gave someone a small loan, a friend or a family member or partner of some sort, and you gave them a small loan that was your doing by yourself, other people may have been involved, may have watched you do that, and now someone else is free. Something like that. If it's not someone else feeling freer, I feel that free feeling, that sensation of freedom, I think is coming from knock that all over. My bad. Like you've shown yourself. You've shown your character. You've shown that you can be trusted, Scorpio. You've shown that you are diligent. You've shown that you're loyal. You've shown that you can go the extra mile. Whatever it is you've done is okay, thank you. It allows you to let things go easier. Okay? So before, where maybe, God, this, help. Help me. Got you. Okay, so before, where maybe previously in your life, Scorpio, you were someone in need at some point in your life previous to this. You were reliant on other people, or you just didn't have enough resources left to your devices where you could stand on your own 2 feet. Now, you can stand on your 2 feet, your own 2 feet, and you're able to provide for yourself, whether that be financially, whether that be emotionally, whether that be in any other type of way. You're able to stand alone. And then you've helped other people along the way, or you've kind of not put yourself up, but you've been sort of hoisted up as an example of somebody who can work well in partnerships, work well in groups. It's like a turning of the fates, or like a turning of your disposition. You know, whereas previous to this, maybe you felt stuck or tied to maybe a dead-end job. Maybe you were in an industry that you hated. It paid your bills barely, but you ultimately were not fulfilled there. Now you've gone into a field where you're definitely more productive. You definitely feel more aligned with the type of work that you do, and perhaps you have, even though it's a distant relationship with your bosses or your managers or whoever, or even your other coworkers, but it is, for the most part, a cohesive partnership. It's a cohesive work relationship that you have. And now that you found your groove, you found the industry or the job that works best for you, you're able to pay your bills, pay them on time, your credit score is bumping up, whatever it is, now you're feeling less bound to something, some very grating, very like cement-like some of you felt like you had cement shoes in whatever job you had previously, whatever relationships or partnerships that you had previous to this time. And even though you're still wanting your comeuppance, you're still wanting to see your dues and be given the accolades and the thanks and the appreciation that you feel you deserve, you ultimately still feel free. So again, here's this is not necessarily a polarity, but I feel like it's a lot within a small context, or there's a lot in this context, not even a small context, but there's a lot going on, which is very typical of you, Scorpio, if I have to be honest. There's a lot going on underneath the surface, or there's a lot more to the story than what other people might be able to perceive or be able to observe. And, you know, that might be something that you struggle with, or something that you need to consider, or something that, you know, you haven't considered, but maybe you want to turn your attention to and maybe open up your eyes a little bit to, which is going back here to this Queen of Wands energy. And I don't know if I said it. I don't think I did. But if you watch any of my other videos, and I know they're long as hell, but, and maybe I've talked to you about the Queen of Wands before, but the Queen of Wands to me, when I use my other decks, and when I've used this deck before and she's come up, is a very bold energy. She's very strong, yes, but she's also compassionate. She's a fire, you know, wands are aligned to the fire energies and fire signs can be very intense, can be very bold, can be very dynamic, can be very in your face and very loud and very brash and all that kind of stuff. You know, I haven't met a fire sign yet that hasn't been called a bitch or an a-hole or something like that. But people will also notice about all of the fire signs, and the elements of the Wands card is behind all of that intensity, behind all of that loud, bombastic, very in-your-faceness, that's, anyway, in-your-faceness, sure, is this demeanor and this intention of compassion. There is an intention and a focus on being one with others, being in communion with others, and being peaceful and copacetic with others. So this Queen of Wands, again, I don't think I said it at the beginning, I don't remember, but I've said it definitely before in other readings whenever this queen pops up in all of the decks that I use, is she's intense, she's a boss, I definitely say that, she's a boss, but she's also kind-hearted. Like, if you want a true bitch, you go see the Queen of Swords. Because she's much more hard-pressed to show a tender, more vulnerable side to her. The Queen of Wands would come in a second place at that, obviously. But I think that, to me, and I might be a little biased being a fire sign, but to me, there's always something you can get from the Queen of Wands that sort of redeems any of her more negative, quote-unquote, negative qualities. I find it's a lot easier to find redemption in her behavior or redemption in her approach to things than sometimes it is for, say, the Queen of Swords, or even sometimes the other queens, Queen of Pentacles or the Queen of Cups. Like, all of the cards have, quote-unquote, negative values or lesser or less appealing aspects to them. So I say all that to say this, my diatribe here, my tirade here, is all of this intensity that I think you're exuding, that people are picking up from you, that you might be giving to people, you might be dishing out, this whole take no prisoners, see me with my money in hand kind of attitude, it still, somewhere beneath that, beneath the surface of that, for you, Scorpio, is a tenderness. There is a vulnerability there. Like I said before, a creamy, gooey, cream-filled center behind that steel-plated donut body of yours or surface of yours. You know what I mean? So this queen, thank you, is sort of doing double duty. Like, I gotta be tough to protect my soft core. I have to be tough because I can't be taken advantage of. Like, this is what I have to do to preserve myself or to preserve something, you know? And I think a lot of people might misunderstand that and not understand that your rough, tough, very bossy or abrasive exterior is actually freeing you. It's actually giving you solidarity within yourself. It's actually making you stronger, more resilient, better able, thank you, finally, better able to take care of yourself and the people and the things that you love the most. You know, I think I said that about the Wands energy and the fire signs, right? Acting in the best interest of the self as well as everybody else. And that, to me, is slightly, it's a nuanced difference for you, Scorpio, if I'm honest. Because I feel a lot of times you, and that might be something that you borrow from the Queen of Wands right now. A lot of times you will look out for others and put yourself last or put yourself way down the list of priorities. And let me tell you something. There's nothing wrong with that. That's very noble. And there are times when you need to do that. But I think right now what you want to do, what you will be doing, what you might need to do is to put yourself first. And as a fire sign, I can tell you, I haven't met a fire sign yet that doesn't, at some point in their life, put themselves first. For others, it's always that way. For many, if not most, I think it's usually that way. There are some times when a fire sign will say, okay, I'm going to do this for you. And then there's like a little clause at the bottom. There's a little footnote there that says, this time around. Next time around, I'm putting myself first and blah, 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 blah. You know, and that's just the way it is. So I think that is something that you might want to align yourself with, or something that you will be aligning yourself with, is putting yourself first. Putting your needs and your desires, your demands first on the list. Scorpio, #1. Okay? So that's what's going on there. And I feel like that's sort of like a backstory, or like in the background, perhaps it's filtering in from your past somewhere. And not like your past, not like your deep past. I think like this is like recent, over the last few weeks, last few months, maybe even over the last year or two. But not like your deep past of like 15, 20 years ago. But that's just a feeling. We're going to see. Now, what's going on in your 4? What's going on over here? Yeah, boy. Right. So I feel that this is like a transition, right? And I don't normally read linearly across, you know, past, present, future kind of thing. But I do feel that there is this transition, there's this temporal transition going on here, where you've got this line in the middle that kind of informs what's going on over here. Right? Mm-hmm. Okay. And it could be reactionary on both sides, is that right? Yeah. Yeah? Yes or no? Yes. Thank you. I was like, come on, bro. Anyway, so this line here in the center. Yep. Thank you. So here's what's going on. You've got this Tower card in reverse. So Tower card normally speaks of sudden change, dramatic change, and sometimes change that is quite destructive, or change that is quite distressing to someone, or, you know, a situation. And that would be the upright energy. In the reverse, I'm feeling for you, Scorpio, that like is there. There has been or will be sudden changes. Not up your alley. And you might struggle with seeing the benefit of them. You might, because going back to, again, the traditional interpretation of the Tower card is sudden changes, distressing changes, but changes that ultimately need to happen. If you didn't do them, if these things weren't removed from your life, if these things weren't altered in your life, you would have kept on the hamster wheel, and you would have kept suffering, or kept not making progress in certain areas of your life. So with this coming in the reverse, I feel like whatever changes are coming, whatever setbacks you might endure, it feels like, for some of you, this has already happened. For others, it's yet to come. But whatever this Tower card represents to you, I feel many of you have, and I feel most of you have, this has already happened, so you kind of know what I'm talking about. Like, you know it was good, but you don't feel that it was good. Like, your logical mind says, you know what, that was for the best. I needed to leave that house. I needed to leave that situation. I needed to leave that job. I needed to leave that relationship. I needed to stop this behavior, or have this taken away from me, whatever. But that's in your head. What you feel is like, F that. That was garbage. That hurt me. They hurt me. I was too good for that job. And like, there's a bitterness, a bitter taste has been left in your mouth based off of whatever Tower situation has unfolded for you, or will unfold for you if it hasn't already. And that's natural to me. I think a lot of times, Scorpio, you have very instinctual, very guttural, or what I would deem as expected reactions. You know, you're one of the water signs, and water signs, of course, have a very innate tie to human emotions. And human emotions run the gamut, right? There's a kaleidoscope of human emotions, ranging from the most, quote unquote, again, positive to the most negative. I put quotes on those things because those two words are very relative and subjective. So I don't want to force people into my interpretation or what I feel about those words. But anyway, and I feel that the water signs, you guys have open availability with all of the emotions. You know, when you think about let's say the air signs tend to go with logic and objectivity. So they're probably emotionally neutral. That's sort of the expectations. Fire signs are passionate, very much, you know, gusto, love for life. So you're going to think they're going to be more positive or go for those more, you know, enthusiastic or just like, again, positive emotions. Earth signs, again, they're kind of this neutral energy, but because they're logical or methodical, they might go for the more neutral to whatever. With you water signs, you guys have this ability to touch, you know, thank you. Finally, they gave me a better analogy. So think of like a crayon box, like the big Crayola, like what is it, like 128 or 158 or something like that, like the huge collection of colors in a crayon box, right? That's your box. You guys have access, all the water signs have access to all the colors. The other signs, maybe we get the 64 pack. Maybe some of us get the 28 pack. But you guys have access to that 100, however many color box of crayons. That being said, there can be, for you, Scorpio, because you're a fixed sign, you might forget that you have that access, that you can run that gamut, that you can color and have access to and pick up any color out of the crayon box, you know? So unfortunately, Scorpio, for you, this bitterness that you feel, this I don't like that this happened, or this is how I feel about that situation, is really a matter of what you decide. And again, I think your mind knows this was good, but your emotions are like, but no, that was not cool. And I don't mean to put on that mocking tone. That's not how I mean it. The tone is not to mock you. It's really to say that sometimes when we fall into our emotions, like I said, there's a kaleidoscope, a huge collection of colors that you can choose to color with. But if you somehow are convinced that instead of the 100+ colors that you have available to you, you're only working with the 12 pack, wake up. It's more than just 12. I'm not feeling confident that is exactly going to resonate with people, but basically your mind is already where your emotions, quote unquote, need to be or would benefit from if they were there. I feel like, again, your mind says that situation, that person, that job, that house, whatever was, I needed it to not be that way anymore, or I needed to get away from it flat out. And you're like, okay, I'm at a different job now. It's new responsibilities. Maybe it's a little intimidating. Maybe you have to work with people that you've never worked with before, like types of people. Maybe there's a lot of like type A personalities and you're like, I'm type A too. This is too many type A's in one freaking office. Like maybe there's a new intensity to a new job that you have or a new industry that you're working in. But are you more fulfilled? Is there more room for growth there? You know, there might be a trade-off here. Sure, it's more stressful. Sure, there's more people that you don't like, or you're having to negotiate personality differences a lot more keenly than you ever had to before. But are you in a better place in terms of your resume? Is this hitting your resume in a way that you want it to hit? Is this going to further your career? Are you able to use the job that you now have? Is that going to expand your potentiality in the future? If so, the bitter taste, you got to let it go. You got to wash that out. All right? You got to get some, do like a little gargling, rinse your mouth out, because it's for the better. If you were in a horrible relationship, or if you were in a relationship that, you felt was going to stand the test of time, but clearly it hasn't, and you've been single for a while or however long, or you're dating, but you're not really finding anybody that you're connecting with, and you're like, well, I guess I'll be lonely forever. Stop that. Stop that. Because you're thinking like, oh, I don't want to be single, or oh, there's nobody of quality out here in the dating scene, and this is garbage, blah, 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 blah. And you're kind of like lamenting, or you're kind of like complaining that there aren't any like eligible bachelors or eligible bachelorettes. There's nobody compatible with you. But it's like, but look where you were. You were with a scumbag. You were with someone who was emotionally unavailable. You were with a narcissist. Like, it's better to be alone than to be with that piece of crap. No offense to you or your ex or whoever, but honestly, be honest. You would rather be with someone who was draining your life, who was using you, who was, in some cases, like, not abusing you, but just wasn't appreciating you, right? Now you're like, okay, I'm free and I'm single. I want to be appreciated. And maybe, again, that could be an element of the demanding. Like, okay, I've been single for a few months now. I'm ready to settle down, or I'm ready to meet somebody. And people that you meet, and I know, Scorpio, it's not an ego thing, because I do believe most of you are quality people. But there might be this feeling of going out on dates with people like, I spent my time with you. You should be grateful that I spent my time with you, because I'm a great person. I'm a catch. And that might be very well true. But, maybe that's it. Maybe some of you feel, specifically in this dating situation, having come out from broken relationships, broken marriages, whatever, now you're back out there dating, and you're like, don't they know? I was somebody's husband before. I was somebody's wife before. I'm good marriage material. I have a sound job. I don't have any debt. I got a good credit score. I got this, I got that. And not to say it's all material based. It could be, I'm really good in bed. I'm a great listener. It could be whatever your qualities are, whatever your attributes are. And you're like, so who's going to come and get this? Who's going to come and sign on to this? And you're waiting there. You're like checking your watch, like, you can hear the seconds tick by. Crickets in the background. Crickets. And you're like, where are they? I'm great. Where are they? And I think the Tower card is here to challenge you to be appreciative of there being an absence of someone. Why is that? Because, for lack of a better word, whoever you've been dating, whoever you've been having these missed connections with, or like 1 or 2 dates and then it like fizzles out and everybody ghosts each other, is because they're garbage. They are garbage. They're not good enough for you. You are too good for them in some cases, or it's just a mismatch. It's just a mismatch. You're both great people, but not for each other. Whatever the circumstance is, some of you need to appreciate that you're by yourself. Relax. Enjoy yourself. Enjoy your time. Make yourself even more awesome for when that person actually comes along that you're going to be with for a minute, or going to be with for the rest of your life, whatever it is, and be happy that you waited, that the crickets were chirping the entire time. Feel comfortable in the presence of the crickets is basically what I feel here in a relationship sense. In other senses, again, it's still the same. There's something bitter in your mouth about how something went down, or how you're seeing something unravel in your life, and you're just like, but your head says, yes, this is right. And your heart is like, but no, we like that. We liked it. It was comfortable. Comfortable. Thank you. It was comfortable. Fixed signs love comfort. I'm going to tell you, I'm a fellow fixed sign, so I understand. Fixed signs love comfort. I know what's going on here. Even though it's a piece of crap, I can predict the intensity and the degree to which it's going to be a piece of crap today. I got this. I know what I'm working with. And it's like, dude, let's upgrade. Fixed signs are very slow to upgrade, but once the upgrade happens, you'll be good. But there might be a struggle with the upgrade. All right, so we spent a lot of time talking about that. In partnership with the Tower card, and it kind of fits into what I was just saying about this what I was saying about relationships. For those of you who are coming from a romantic standpoint, this fits in for you guys. Three of Swords in reverse. And this card has come out a lot too this month. So a lot of people are going, you know, maybe it's the sentiment of the holidays. You're reminded of all, last Christmas, I gave you my heart. All that. But the very next day, you gave it away. All right, I'm done. So for some of you, that's a reality. Like last Christmas, I was in a happy place. We were wearing matching ugly Christmas sweaters at our friend's holiday party. We were taking pictures out in the snow, making snowmen together, blah, blah, blah. And now this Christmas, you're by yourself and you feel like the Grinch. You feel like Scrooge. And you're like, you're quite upset. I'm gonna be honest. So again, this card has come out a few times for other signs, and I was telling those other signs, I think Leo was one, maybe Cancer was one, that it wasn't necessarily love-driven. For a lot of you, it is love-driven. And not necessarily romantic love. You can have fond, tender memories and affection for your family members, for your friends. But there's something that has happened or will happen, Scorpio, that just destabilizes that energy, destabilizes that connection with you. You are like dwelling, remembering, reminiscing, and ruminating on this pain that you've had, this experience of being stabbed in the heart, this experience of being backstabbed or being betrayed or feeling just a disconnect with people. Even if again, to go back to the whole the threes don't necessarily mean third party. For some of you, maybe. But the Three of Swords also talks about pain from like distance. It doesn't have to be a severe breakup. It doesn't have to be an argument. It doesn't have to be a cheating scenario. It doesn't have to be a scenario where somebody was abusive or anything like that. It can just be, for some of you, a good portion of you, I feel, would be a distance. You are sad or you're lamenting that you're not as close with your best friend anymore. He or she went and got married and you're still living the single life in the city, and, you know, you guys really only see each other a few times a year, and it's like you guys used to be like, you know, two peas in a pod sort of energy. And in some cases, if I'm honest, some of you, and again, this is like one of those stereotypes about your sign, but a lot of you would be jealous of that friend who's off married, who's off making a life for themselves with their new family and posting up pictures of their holiday together, and you're still putting up a little Christmas tree in your studio apartment that your cat knocks down, because cats love Christmas trees so much they have to knock them to the ground, right? So there's just a full line of bitterness and, in some cases, anger, dismay, disappointment, heartache, just all that right there. And I feel like it's coming in the middle to show sort of like a beam or sort of like a focal point for you, Scorpio. This is playing a part in your life still. If it's already played out, it's still very present in your life, and you would have to do considerable work to remove that energy or combat it and face it and acknowledge it. For others of you who it hasn't played out for yet, when it comes, be diligent. Recognize it. And again, don't let the bitterness stay with you. Try your best to remove it. Try your best to combat it in some type of way, okay? Now on the other side, I feel this is more future-oriented, but I'm not going to label it as purely the future, because the future, number one, is always changeable. It's very malleable, the future, okay? We all think that we're going to live to see tomorrow. Some of us might die tonight. Not to be so cryptic or not cryptic, but morbid, but I'm trying to make a point here. We all expect that the future will be a certain way, but it might not be, is basically what I'm saying. Like, I personally expect to finish this video, go have dinner, and then relax for the rest of the night, and then wake up tomorrow and go to work. that might not happen based on so many factors. But that's sort of what I'm saying, is the future is not guaranteed, whether that's in ultimate terms or whether that means just variations to your standard schedule, okay? And so I feel that this could be your future. It might be what you intend. It might be what you hope for. But is it guaranteed? No. Nothing in tarot is guaranteed anyway. So going forward, more work. But I think you're going to face it a little more. Your attitude might improve, basically. 9 of Wands. This card also has been coming up a lot for the other signs. I can't remember who got it, but I know it's been here before. And every time I pick up a card, and I don't know why I'm doing this, but every time I pick up a card, it's not going to be the same, you know? Each reading is different. Each person's or each zodiac's energy is going to be different than the previous energy in some form or fashion. And so for you, Scorpio, this is actually feeling like an okay energy. Whereas I think for the other signs, I was just like, oh, I don't know, 9 of Wands, kind of difficult in some kind of way. And for you, it would be difficult in the sense of 9 of Wands is a card about demands. It's a card about fighting the good fight and sticking to your guns and sticking to your post and being undaunted by adversity. That's true here. But there's the element for you that I'm being drawn to, Scorpio, is the demeanor of that woman. She looks, even though she's like escaping the brooms, the mops, and the dusters and all that, and she's going up this ladder in this party dress, and it seems like a difficult task. It just seems not super logical or super pragmatic how she's moving up a ladder in a damn cocktail dress or whatever, with a bucket and a sponge in her one hand. Her demeanor, her attitude, her outlook is just pretty chill. It's pretty positive. So for you, Scorpio, will there be more difficulties ahead? Will there be more hard work ahead? Will there be future challenges? Sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. Guaranteed. That's life, right? Very few of us in this life are going to experience continual smooth sailing, you know? So you, Scorpio, I don't think I have to tell you that. It's not always going to be smooth sailing. That's the reality of life. But what you can change, and it's kind of cliche, and I'm sure we've all, you know, seen memes and little, you know, short videos online about it. It's like, it really is about your disposition. If you wake up in the morning and you give yourself affirmations in the mirror, if you say, I'm going to have a wonderful day, nothing's going to get me down, not everything, but I am in control of my own reaction and attitude to things. If you give yourself affirmations, if you do positive, mindful meditations, if you go and you speak to a therapist, whatever you're doing, whether it's just purely waking up with a good, hearty smile on your face, or you're going to counseling, whatever you're doing, there is this intention that in the middle of whatever adversity you might come across, you're going to keep a smile on your face. You're going to keep a positive mindset about things. You're not going to dwell. You're not going to be bitter, right? Dwell and be bitter. You're not going to, you know, be playing sort of like the blame game. You're not going to be looking to make excuses. You're just going to get on with life, and you're going to do it in the most positive, most enthusiastic way that you can. And I feel for you, Scorpio, it's like that's the best you can, not the best, but I feel like that's a safe bet for you. That's a real safe bet for you, because I think a lot of you are going to struggle here and here, if I'm honest. And there's all that we talked about here. You feel resilient and you feel freer, but you still have this bristly, almost confrontational energy that needs to be sort of reconciled or needs to be redeemed in some kind of way, or alleviated in some kind of way. Like the Queen of Wands is an intense energy. So you just are going to push through. You're going to power through. So there's like a little bit of an irony here. And I think, again, going back to what I was saying in the top, and I can't really remember what I was saying at the beginning of the video, but it's sort of like these two energies or these two positions or these approaches to a situation that don't seem to mix. How can you be hard-edged? How can you be, made of steel, but then have a gooey, creamy center? Like, that doesn't make sense. How can you, have all this work to do and all these responsibilities over here, all of these things that you're sort of having to contend with, that you're having to have a handle on, but you're wearing a cocktail dress and you're smiling about it and you're climbing a ladder with one hand and the other hand is holding a bucket. Like, what? How does that work? Somehow, Scorpio, you're going to make it work. It's kind of boggling me a little bit. Like, the thing that I'm aligned with the most in this energy is your attitude, your perseverance. It could be a mindset thing. It could be, for some of you, not tricking, but certainly, again, through the power of affirmation, through the power of conscious thinking. Some of you might be doing visualization meditations or visualization techniques where your job is stressful, or that your love life is kind of this empty landscape, dry desert everywhere, but you keep envisioning your ideal partner. You keep thinking of all the things that you guys are going to do together when you meet this guy, when you meet this girl. And that could be something that just gets you through the day, or keeps you from throwing your phone across the room because, guys are sending you dick pics or something like that. It's like that. And I don't know what deck it is, and I'm just throwing it out there for those of you who might watch other readers and you've come across this card. I don't know what deck it is, but there's some deck that has an oracle card in it. It's an oracle deck, and it says, live like or behave like your partner's already here. So some of you might be doing that. Like, you do little changes in your behavior as if you lived with someone because you're, quote unquote, making room. You're doing that visualization technique of, if I make the bed, or if I set out, some of you might be doing that. Set out 2 settings for dinner instead of just me by myself. I'm setting out 2 plates, knowing damn well nobody's coming over to eat and you're not going to put any food on the plate, but you're making that effort. And therefore, if you make that effort, essentially, the man of your dreams, the woman of your dreams will be manifested. So some of you might be doing that. Actual physical rituals, behaviors that account for somebody else being in your life. Okay? On top of that, you've got the 4 of Swords. And the 4 of Swords is basically sort of talking about what I just said. It's this card in this position for you today. It's very reflective. It's very meditative. It's very restful, right? So some of you might be doing that, going on retreats, going to spas, calling in to work and just having a sick day, but it's really, I'm going to stay in my pajamas all day and I'm going to drink tea all day and I'm going to catch up on, what's on TV now? I don't know what's on. This Is Us. That's a big one, right? Is that back on TV? I don't know. I've never seen it. I've been told to watch it, but I just haven't seen it yet. Anyway, so yeah, there's like this me time, me. And again, I think I said that before. You normally don't prioritize yourself. This is an energy on this side of prioritizing yourself, of taking care of yourself, of getting your mental state and your emotional state and your physical body all aligned in a positive, progressive, very conducive union. So a lot of transitions, but you've got this tough energy in the middle there where a lot of you can get caught up and a lot of you can get stuck. You can get stuck in that, that repeating cycle of replaying past events, replaying relationships gone sour and feeling like, I don't know, like, what does that do for you? Like, if it's over, the relationship, the job, whatever is over, okay, yeah, it sucks, it was painful, but let's move forward. How are we going to move forward? That I feel is a huge issue for a good amount of you, is you're getting caught up in the middle here and you want to be thinking about what's going on either side of that tense center line for you, okay? Your outcome for December is the Two of Wands in reverse. So again, a lot of reversals. I'll show you this card upright so you can become used to it. But again, in reverse. And, yeah, good. Good. So it's going to go two ways. Some of you are still going to continue on like this. I apologize for phrasing it to you this way, but some of you are going to stay on this bitter pity party train of this thing happened and it was really inconvenient to my life and it really destabilized what I found to be predictable and, you know, just again, fixed signs. If this is the way it is, I'm used to it being this way. I don't like when things are not the way I'm used to having them be. Some of you are going to stick to that. Others of you, it's going to be almost the opposite of that, where you're going to recognize, oh my God, I was really reliant on this pattern. I was reliant on this predictable relationship. I was reliant on or totally aligned with a job that, you know, paid the bills but didn't give me happiness or didn't make me feel useful and stuff like that. And you're just going to turn that energy or that disposition around. And you're going to go from a position of being attached to being detached. And that's hard to do. That's hard to do. Right? Because some of you are just like, because the Two of Wands is like, in the upright, it's about being not diligent. Give me the word. Assured? Is that the word? No. Come on, give me the word. Determined. Thank you. I'm like, no, that's not the word. Of being determined. Of feeling like I've got a head on my shoulders. I know exactly where I'm going. Blah, 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 blah. So having that determined, focused energy and that intention towards the future. When it's in this reverse position, like I said, for the first group of you, some of you are not able to get with that energy. You're not able to feel determined. You're not able to really turn your disposition into one that is beneficial. You're kind of going to remain in that, like I said, that bitter, salty, not able to let it go energy, and you're just going to stew a little while longer. Others of you, it's playing out that you see it, that you need to be more determined, you need to be more future oriented, you need to let go of certain things from the past. I think the issue there would be belief for you guys, for that second group. Like, you can do it, and maybe that's it. Like how I was saying a minute ago about the rituals and, you know, living your life as this, your ideal partner is there, or visualizing yourself having the job of your dreams, or achieving the level at the job that you want, to become the vice president, to become, you know, a managing executive, whatever it is that you're trying to do, becoming an entrepreneur. A lot of you are aligned with the dreaming aspect of it, you know, yeah, and that would be great. But I think because the physical result won't happen tomorrow, you're kind of like, you would struggle to maintain that determined, enthusiastic, and focus that you might need to. So regardless, Scorpio, I think you need to have a clear goal. And I think, you know, in some cases, maybe you need to write it down, and maybe you need to read it like every day, or, you know, check in with what you wrote down every week. You know, remember, we want a husband. I want a dream husband. I want a dream job. I want a dream car. I want this. I want that. I want to be, you know, financially stable on my own 2 feet for the rest of my life. You know, if that's what you literally want to do, it's one thing to think about it and dream about it and to, you know, spend, you know, your days dreaming about it. It's another thing to put it down on paper. It's another thing to actually put those intentions into action. So that might be a struggle for no matter what group you're in, putting it into action. Okay? Overall for the month, well, Page of Pentacles. Like I just said, what did I just say? putting it into action, right? Page of Pentacles. Pentacles are all about practical behaviors or practical means and methodologies. And the page is the lowest of the court cards. Page, knights, queens, and kings, right? And he's a little misbehaving right there on that card, right? He's a little bit of a troublemaker, pulling those dishes down and not really taking care of those pentacle plates. So I feel that for many of you Scorpios, this is new. This is very new, wet behind the ears energy, okay? You're having to do things, you're having to change your approach, change your methodology, change your spending habits, your financial situation, or the way you delegate your own finances or budget for yourself. There is a change in the wind, and it is a slow, if it's not slow, it would just be very like amateur, novice kind of energy. So it's new to you, for some of you, to work with a budget, to create a budget for yourself and stick to it. That's new behavior. For others of you, it's new to do the meditation, right? You've never done that before in your life. You've never attended a yoga class. You've never, listened to, a guided meditation video or audio or anything like that. So it's all new to you. It's very much you're getting into the practice of doing this. So whatever it is, I think that your intention is earnest. I think that your intention and your approach is dignified or like I said, earnest or honest. It's just, again, I think you might struggle with seeing it pay off. I don't think it's going to pay off as soon as you would like it to. Fixed signs, we want it now. Because that's the thing, like a fixed sign is like, what am I doing? What am I doing here? What's the purpose here? Is this the purpose? Okay, and that's the purpose, and you lock in. Like a fixed sign is interested in locking in. Once the target is found, once the target is defined, you want to hit it, hammer to nail. You just want to go in there and be efficient and lock it down. And the Pentacles is slow energy, and the Page is novice energy. And you have a lot of reversals. So there's just a lot of things in transition, and that will frustrate a fixed sign. The transition point is frustrating for a fixed sign. Come on, let's get to the bread and butter here. Let's get down to what we need to do. What do you mean I have to sign all these papers? What do you mean I have to wait? Impatient, okay? So that might be the issue with the Page of Pentacles is, I think that the intention is good. I think that the methodology has some kinks that need to be worked out, could be a little refined, but the actual issue is going to be patience. And patience in seeing the results that you are after, okay? All right, Scorpio, that is your reading for December 2018. I hope you liked it. If you did like it, there's a like button down below. YouTube has installed it there just for you. But you can go ahead and hit that if you like what you saw here today. You can also leave comments in the comment section. I would love to read how this resonated with you, if it did at all. Also, please feel free to share the video and subscribe to my channel. If you haven't subscribed already, that would be amazing. And I will be back. If I'm really smart, I should come back next week and do your January 2019 readings. I thank you guys so much for watching up until this point. Take care. Bye.